Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. This is video number 3 in our video series on how to simulate using the SUMO. So in the last video, we have just explained what uh, are the key signs you need to be conversant with if you want to use the XML language. As we said, the XML language is just a kind of language that you can use to store or transfer the data so as to be used in a Python workflow. So now we're going to simulate this. So because we have this is a road network, we have three nodes with at the junction N1, N2, and N3, and we have two roads. The first road connects N1 with N2, then the second road connects N2 with N3. So in SUMO, if you want to like construct the SUMO, first you need to uh, write a code for the node. We said the node is the junction. Then also for the what? For the edge. And the edge we say is just the road that is connecting the distance. Under the edge, so you have to uh, uh, give the attribute of the edge, and then you have to give the type of the edge, like how many number of lanes the road have, what is the maximum speed a vehicle can move on that particular road. You can add so many of the attributes. So after you have done that, after you have created the node, the edge, then the type. So you combine these three using the net convert. Then you now create another file which we call the root file. In the root file, you need to specify the type of the vehicle that you want them to run on the road network. Then you also need to specify the route the vehicle will follow. Like for instance, will the vehicle start from N1 and terminate at N2? Or will they start from N1, go to N2 and goes to N3? Or will the vehicle start from N2 and N3? And also, you need to specify the type of the vehicles that you need to be on the road. Is it a car? Is it a bus? Is it a tricycle? Is it a bicycle? Is it a what? So you need to specify. So after that, then you combine all these three together. Then I'm sorry, the four together. Then you now configure it to run in the what? In the SUMO. So let us just start with this. So you see, in the last video, I have explained how to write the SML listing. So here I will not be writing them because it will take time and the video will be long. So for that, I have already written all these files. So this is the node. You remember we have three nodes, which is the N1, N2, and N3. So that means I have to open the tag and specify it. So the node, then my node ID 1 is N1. So I need to specify the X distance of it. And from here, we said the X is minus 500, which we have explained in the last video. So I have to specify the Y, and if you look at the drawing, the Y of it here is what is 0. So I will now have to specify what type of junction is this. Is it a priority? Is it a kind of a signalized intersection, or is it a runabout? So it is a priority, so I have to indicate that this is a priority. So when I'm done with that, so I will now place the the slash, then close this. So that means this has ended. So at the end of the day, I will do the same for the node 2, and I will do the same for the node 3. Make sure to enter the x coordinate and the y coordinate correctly. So I will now copy this. Before then, you need to like open a folder, an empty folder, which I have did. So I named the folder Sumo for beginners, because you need the folder because you want to use the CMD, which is the control command. So you need the folder where to be saving all your documents. So now, apart from the folder, I will need also the notepad, because I will be saving my file in a form of a XML file. So you can use the WordPad, you can use the Notepad plus plus. So you can use any of these. So let me just use the Notepad. So first thing, I will now paste this, which the one this is the one I have copied, so I have to save it. So you remember I said that the extension you will save is XML. So here I will now use let me give it a name, my, let's say notes uh, dot note dot what xml. So this is the name I will save this with. So you have to make sure that you save it in the folder you created. So I will now write what save. So if you come to the folder here, you will see this is it. So now I will go to the next thing, which is the edges. You remember I have three nodes, but my rod is what is two. So if you look at the diagram, I have three junctions, but the rods that are connecting them are two. One connect one to two, and the other connect two to what? Two to three. So that means I will have two edges. So I have to give the ID of the edges. The first one I decided to use one to two. Then it started from N1 and terminate at N2, which is this. So it started from N1 and finishes at N2. Then the other one started from N2 and finishes in N3. So now you need to also specify the type, how many number of lane you want the road to have, and what is the maximum permissible speed that a vehicle can move on that particular distance. For the first one, I decided to say let it be 3 lane, then the maximum speed is 45. So I'm talking about this one. That is, if you are moving on the road from N1 to N2, so you will have a kind of it will have a kind of a 3 lane, and the maximum speed vehicle can move on it is 45. So now for the second one, I will do the same. So I call it 2 to 3. Then it started from N2 to this one. So but this time around under the type, I decided to use the number of lane to be 2, and then the maximum speed vehicle can move here is what is 15. So I will just copy this as well. So I will copy it. I will come to the the notepad plus plus. So I will select this. So I will now what I will now paste. So I will now have to save this one in the same file folder I saved the initial one. So I will use the I will use this name. So I will say my, remember this is H, so I will now say my edges, let's say dot edg, so dot xml. So this is the name I will save it. So you save it, so check to make sure that it is saved. So now I need to also further clarify this particular type, because I said the type is 3 lane and this. So I cannot just leave it like that. So I have to further clarify it. So I have to give the priority to the lanes. Then I have to specify the number of the lane and the maximum speed. So for the type ID, I call it 3 lane 45. So I need to tell this thing what the 3L means and what the 45 means. So the priority, you see, is just, since I said the junction is a priority junction, so it will give a priority to a road that has more priority number. So like in the case of a vehicle joining a traffic stream and also the through traffic. So the vehicle joining has to wait for those moving on a through traffic. So that means the through traffic will have a higher priority than those joining. So now you need to specify that. So if you come to the second one, which is the 2 lane and 15, so you see instead of the first one we use 3, so this one will be 2, and this one will now be 15. So I will still copy this. I'll come back to my notepad plus plus. So I will select this and I will now paste what the new one. So I will save this file as let's say my type, let's say dot type dot xml. So I will now save it. I will now say uh, save. So one thing that I want to tell you is that all these code, like for instance, if you have problem with them, you can go to the SUMO documentation. They have a kind of resources that you can use. Like for instance, look at the SUMO documentation. They use a different approach in creating their edges. Like in their own case, they say the ID is this, it started from this and then to this. They give the priority, number of lane, and then specify this thing. So specify the word at the speed. So like if you come down here, okay, okay. So you see here they use type. So it's a different from the other format. So you see they use type A and type B. So they now further like explain what the type is all about. So if you want to go to the documentation, you can go there. There are a lot of resources, but you need to read actually. So now I have already created three files. So I need to combine these three into one to form my network. And to do that, then I have to use the net convert so as to combine this, because now I have just a runabout, I have a road, and I have the properties of the road. So it is not a network yet. So for me to make it a network, so I need to use the net convert. And this is the net convert. So you just need the node file, then you now write the name of the node file, then you need the h file, then you write the name of the h file, then this is the type file. So you will now write the name of the type file, and this is the output. If you don't want it in this format, instead of this t, which is the long hash and t, so you can make it to be a kind of a short, two short dot. Then you now write what? You now write the type in full. Just like here we use the double short dot and we now write node file. But in this one we use the long dash and we now use n. So you have to make sure that you are consistent with what you are doing. If you are using the long distance, so that means you use the initial of what you intend to distance. But if it is the shorter ones, so that means you need to write it in full. So I will just copy this. So now I'll go to the folder. So what basically this means is that I'm telling this to convert my node file with this name, my h file with this name, and my type file with this name. And I want the output to be named as my net.net.sml. That is just it. So it's not something difficult. So you just copy this, then you come here. This is my the folder. So here I will click here, then I will now write what cmd, because I need to open the control center. So I will now paste what I have just copied. So you now click on what? Enter. So you see it is success. So that means it has now matched these three files into one. So and it has named it as my network. So if I open it, you will see that all these ones are the match. So you see the input are the three files I have put, and it has matched them to become a network ready for vehicles to move on it. So now I have done that. So now the next thing is for me to specify the what? Specify the type of the vehicles that are supposed to use the road. Then I need to state or maybe categorically make it clear on the route the vehicle are supposed to follow. Is it from 1 to 2? And what type of the vehicles are supposed to use the network. So for this one, I have to use the route file. So in the route file, you first of all uh, define the characteristics of the vehicle. Like for this instance, the first vehicle, we give it ID as a car. So we decided to say it has an acceleration of 1, then the deceleration of 5, then the sigma of 0, then the length of this, and the maximum speed is this. So these codes are not something difficult. There are nothing. It's just the equality sign, the less than, the greater than, the double quotation that we have explained earlier. Nothing more than that. So this is just it. So then the second one, we decided to say it is a bus with acceleration 1, deceleration 5, sigma 0, length here we say 12, and the maximum speed of the bus is what we say is 2. So we are done with the vehicle. Now we need to also specify the route the vehicle are supposed to distant. So here I say route ID, I gave it route 0, then the edges the vehicle are supposed to move, they have to move from 1 to 2, then 2 to what? Then 2 to 3. So if you look at our diagram, I'm saying that they should move from 1 to 2 and they should move from what? 2 to 3. If I decide to say that they should only move from 1 to 2, so that means they will terminate here. If I say that they should move from 2 to 3, that means they will start from here and terminate here. But I want them to run through the simulation. So this is what we this thing. So I will now, after that, I have specified this thing. So I need to also tell what type of vehicle I want on the simulation. So here you need to have the vehicle ID. But importantly here you have to make sure that no two vehicles are having the same ID. So each vehicle should have a kind of a separate ID. So this is vehicle 0 and this is vehicle 1. For the type, because I have two types, these are the two types I have created. So for the type, I decided that the first one should be bus, then the second one should be a car. The route, they will all follow the same route, which is this route I have created. That is route 0. So that means they will start from 1 to 2 and they will continue to 2 to 3. Then the depart. This is the number of seconds that the vehicle is supposed to appear in the simulation after the simulation have started. The first one I said let it appear after 10 minutes. Then the second one I said let it appear under what? Under 20 minutes. So I will still copy this. I'll copy this. Then I will come back here. So I will select this and replace it with what I have just copied. So here I will save the file as a, so it's a root file. So I will say maybe my root, then it will be dot row dot what xml. So I will now say what? I will now say save. So you see, if you go back to the folder, you see I have the root file saved. So now we go to the last stage, which is the simulation. So I have to do this the SUMO configuration, which is this. First, you need the input. My input are just two files. I want to superimpose the root on the what on the network. So my two files are the network file I created and my root file. Then I close the input. Then here I need to specify the time I want the simulation to run. So if I want it to begin at 0, so and I want it to end at 70, you can decide to make it 3600, which is like what, like the uh, like 1 hour can. Then maybe you can now let me just use 100 as my this thing. So for this time around, if you are saving this file, it will not be in XML, it will be in a SUMO CFG file, which is the configuration file, because it is the last stage that you want it to be simulated in the SUMO environment. So I will just copy this. Importantly, you have to make sure that this file that you are using as your input have the same name with these files that you have saved. Because if the names are not the same, then this thing won't recognize that and the simulation will not run and you will now have a kind of an error. So let me just copy this, the configuration file. So let me just copy it to here. I'll copy it, then come back here. So I will select this all and I will replace it with what I have just copied. So here I will save it as my in that particular same folder. So let me save it as my let's say SUMO, let's say file, let's say dot, let's say SUMO CFG. You remember I said this time you have to save it in the SUMO CFG extension so as for it to run. So now we are done. So now it's time for the simulation. So you see the SUMO CFG will be saved in the this now it will take the logo of the SUMO. So now we just double click on that. So if you are successful with your simulation, no error, so it will now display. So this is the SUMO simulation environment. This is the delay. If you want the vehicle to move faster, you leave it here. So maybe if you want to increase the delay, you just move around with it. So this is this. So this one you can make this one a kind of a real world, or you can decide to make it a kind of red. You can decide to make it a kind of this. So let me just leave it here. And if you want, you can even customize the color. So you double click here. So maybe let me just check this. So you can now say what accept. I can now say what okay. So this is where to run. So I can now say let it start. So the first vehicle supposed to be on the simulation is actually 10. So you see this is it. Then the second one supposed to be at exactly 20. But you remember we said the maximum speed of this vehicle is 2 kilometers per hour, and this one is 100. So look at the way the car overtook this particular distance. But we remember we said that the maximum speed at which vehicle can move on this road network is 45. So now let me just go and increase the speed of this particular bus and see what will happen. So now you come to your folder. So go to the root file, then open it with the notepad. So here you see this is 2. So let's just make it 50. So you see the 50 is above the road permissible speed of 45. So that means the car and the bus here are supposed to move at the same distance. So now let me come back here. So now since I have made changes, so I need to refresh it. Then I need to run it. So now you will see that the bus will be moving somehow faster than in the initial scenario. So now it will be very hard for the car to overtake it because they all have a maximum speed above the permissible speed of the this thing. Like for instance, if you want to get the characteristics of the vehicle, so you just click on it, then you now right click. So you can now say show parameter. So it will take it to tell you the length the vehicle is and also the position the vehicle is, and it will give you the emission of that particular vehicle at that particular time. So this one the vehicle emitted, this is in gram, 5,749 CO2, and this is the CO, the HC, the this and that. And this is the amount of the fuel consumed by the vehicle, and this is the noise emitted. But remember, this is using the default SUMO emission this thing, standard. But if you want, you can customize it with the help of your Python. You can post the SUMO to use the specific fuel consumption of the vehicle in your area. That means you can localize it. But maybe in the second week we can be able to maybe see that. Okay, now let me just go and see if I change the distance. So I have to go to uh, the type file to see if I can change the maximum speed of the road. So I will now go to the notepad. So you see this one, I say the maximum speed is 45. So let me make it 100, and at the same time this one as well, let me make it what 100. So here I will also change this one to what to 100. So here also I will change this one to what, I will also change this one to 100. So that means the vehicle can move up to 100 distance. So you can now save this. So I need to also change the distance because in the H file I have specified the type of the distance. So I need to also come here because I have changed this one to what, to 100. So you need to change it to 100, and I will also do the same thing. I will change it with what, with 100. But remember, these two files that I have changed is the H file and the type file, and I use the net convert to convert them. So this change will not be effected. So I have to rerun the net convert for it to recognize. So I will just copy it, go to the this, then paste it. I will now say okay. So I can now come back to my simulation. So I can refresh this. So I can now say start the simulation. So now you will see it will effect that particular changes. So you remember the maximum speed of this is 50 and this one is 100. So I have now increased the speed of this in the road to be around what, 100 instead of the distance. So now the vehicle can move at their own maximum speed. So this is just for today, and maybe in the next video we're going to use the net edit to do the same thing, because I have started with the code so that if you are using the net edit, if you happens to have an error, you will try to understand where the error is coming from. But before the next video, I want you to maybe have an exercise. So let me just add something here. Let me just create another row here. So and we'll call it n, call it as what, n4. So let's use the same distance, but this time around, let this one be uh, that is the x will be 1 minus 150 and the y will also be minus 200. So assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.